You could probably do that for $10 a day on Facebook, where you're getting thousands of views.
So the big question is, what are the top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams, and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? If you ever thought about this, you're not alone. No one has been able to get the answers until now.
We spent the last few years helping agents sell billions in real estate, rubbing shoulders with top producers, which got us thinking, how can we expose more people to these insights to help raise the standard in the whole real estate industry? We then realized that we could help bridge the gap by getting the secrets from the best of the best so that you can succeed. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Elite Agent Secrets. Today we've got Anthony Beckham with us. He's been in real estate for 5 years. He's selling over 100 homes a year by the age of 26. He was in the Navy SEALs. He's a full-time videographer. He's starting his own brokerage. He does real estate investing, wholesaling and rentals. This guy, where the fuck he's got his time, we don't know. We're going to find out on today's episode. We're going to be discussing YouTube and content, freedom, and building a business, team, and culture. This guy is not only a powerhouse, but he's got something I haven't got, which is youth. Anthony, thanks for jumping on with us today. We can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so I got to address the elephant in the room because people are going to read the description. They're going to look at your name. We need to get this out of the way. Are you related in any shape, way, or form to the one and only David Beckham?
Well, I'm thinking these looks came from somewhere, I don't. My grandpa's name's David Beckham. I don't know. Maybe that.
You should have just gone, yeah, my granddad's David Beckham.
There you go.
Throwing everybody for a loop. Man, this is insane. 100 homes a year by 26 is fucking ridiculous, man. Like, that is crazy.
Thanks.
So 5 years ago,
and I'm not 100 homes. So what the fuck am I doing wrong? We got to find out.
That's funny.
What happened 5 years ago? We love to start here. Take us back before you were in real estate. What were you doing, and why did you make that transition? Like, how did it happen? Everyone's got a journey, and we really want to unpack. We love starting there because it gives us context.
Well, I was working this shitty bank job in a cubicle every day. I was working 6 days a week, saving up money to buy my first house. And in that cubicle, I had a couple hours a day where I wasn't on the phone, and I was able to do tasks on the computer, and I was able to listen to podcasts during that time. So I started listening to Bigger Pockets and really getting into the whole investing thing. I wanted to get a good deal as I'm buying my first house. And then, that transitioned to once I close on this house, I got to get the hell out of here. And I need to do something that is dependent on how hard I work, and how good I am at it versus how long I sit in this chair. I'd always flipped cars and done stuff like that through high school. So, that's how I saved up a lot of my money for that down payment on my first house. And literally, okay, so it was a short sale. So it took 11 months. Everybody here is real estate agents. They all know the beauty of short sales. So it took 11 months for me to finally close on that place. As soon as I closed on it, I quit my job. And so, I had to make it happen. From the Bigger Pockets thing, that's where I came into, looking at sales jobs to get myself out of there, get that freedom. And that led me to, getting my real estate license and hitting the ground running. Had to make it happen at that point. I had responsibility. I had a house payment now, so I had to make it work.
You jumped
in.
Now
That's when shit got real.
Yeah.
That was both feet first. This is what some people do. Some people, it really depends. Some people are like, you want to have an income. And some people, I think the one thing you had, which is when I got into business all them years ago, I didn't have the same responsibility that you would do when you get older and you got houses and kids and other payments, where it's like you need a certain level of income. Otherwise, you don't want people to come knocking, so to speak. I didn't have that. So when I jumped in, I was also able to jump in with both feet because I was like, I've got enough money coming in from this stuff where I can easily afford it. I can dive in, and I know I've got this residual income or recurring income coming in from some other stuff I was doing, where I was like, I'm just going to go all in on this business and just dedicate 100% of my bandwidth to it. And, it works out. It's hard and it takes years usually. So I want to know, what was your first year like? So you got your license. What was it like? So you obviously got your first investment. Walk us through. Was it crap or was it great?
Well, it took 4 months before I closed anything, but I was putting the pedal to the metal. Of course, I didn't really know what exactly I was supposed to be doing, but I was doing open houses every weekend. I started buying some online leads and doing some different Facebook ads and that sort of thing. And I ended up closing 23 deals that first year and making $100,000. So that was my first year as
through the
21-year-old
combination of doing all of
agent.
that, or through one source?
No, it was definitely the combination. I was doing open houses just at really high end listings that were another agent in my office. It was her listings. And so I was able to close probably a handful of my deals there, but a lot of my volume was there because we were talking, between 300,000 and 500,000. The rest of my sales were online leads, and my average sales price averaged out to being like around 150,000. I mean, back then I was selling, $100,000 homes, and it was just volume.
Got to start somewhere. Don't discredit this. I have an agent mentor in my office right now. She goes, yeah, listen, go get the big hits, the 400, 500, 600,000s, but fill the gaps in between with the 152 and 250s all day long. Like, just have them coming in,
Keep that bread rolling in. I think one thing that's interesting is you got 6 figures in your first year, and it's an incredible thing. And what's crazy, this is what kind of drives us insane, and we go on about this all the time. It's why we do this, is every agent should earn a minimum of 100K, realistically more like 200K a year. We just don't believe anyone in the world of real estate wants to earn less than that. Like, this is, you can earn a lot of money, and it's the fact that you were a brand new agent, first year, learned this thing, and you still managed to make 6 figures. And I can only assume, but I want to hear it from you. It's like, you just did the work. Like, you just went out and you were just grinding and just, calling the leads. Like you said, online leads, we hear it all the time. A lot of our business, it's like 95% is online leads. People they don't work. They fucking work. You can close a lot of deals from online leads. That's where we, like I said, 95%. Then you grow a sphere from online leads. So, what was it like for you? What was that journey like? First year, 23 deals, getting those deals. What was your day like? Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of inefficiencies there. I mean, I'll tell you that much. I mean, I even spent time just going through the phone book and making dials out of the frickin' phone book, which now I know I would have been way better off calling FSBOs or expireds or doing something where I was actually going to get leads. I mean, but that's about the coldest lead you can get. But I was just always trying to stay busy. As my database grew from the people that I was meeting at the open houses, I started with $100 in Zillow ad spend, plus just posting in groups on Facebook with the squeeze page to my website. And at first, maybe I only had 10, 20, 30 leads. Well, they were getting a call from me just about every other day because those were the only leads I had to call. And so, I mean, that was just every day. And every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I had scheduled out for open houses. So there wasn't even like an excuse if I didn't want to do them. Like, they were already scheduled. So the amount of work, if you just put in the work, I mean, something's going to stick even if you aren't necessarily doing it the right way.
So with the current market, first of all, there's no way you can schedule out 3-4 weeks worth of open houses unless you're talking about $1 million listings.
Oh, yeah.
So take this a little bit with a grain of salt. What the point is, schedule your fucking open houses, do them, show up, don't make excuses, schedule them Thursday, Friday, and just put it in your calendar so you're being consistent, right? Because that's what you're basically saying. It didn't matter what lead source. If they were Facebook and you were calling them every day, every other day, it's not only because you had a low number, but you were also consistent in the action and the execution.
Definitely.
Same thing with open houses. You were consistent with that.
I love the idea that you went from 0 to 23. And by the way, what age were you? So we know you did 100 by 26. So was that your next year you managed to do 100, or was that a couple of years down the line? Like, what was second year? What was third year? What does that look like?
So 23, my first year, that was at the age of 21. The next year, I did 56 deals. I had brought on an assistant that year. And then the year after that, I did 81, still just me and that assistant. And at that point, I was burnt out. Like, that was just too much for me to handle. So it would have been last year, I brought on a buyer's agent, but not until the very end of the year. So he ended up doing 15 or so of my deals, or at least being a part of 15 of those deals. And we did 101 sales. That was last year. And then this year I'm at like 120 units, but now I have 2 buyer's agents, and, we'll start to talk about building out a team so you can start to gain a little bit of freedom. Cause I have most of my evenings and weekends back now. For those first few years, I wasn't leaving town. I wasn't doing anything. I was simply working to build the foundation to what it is now.
That's
So
huge.
for anybody who's listening, let's clarify this. 2,600 deals. That was last year. Does that mean you're 27?
No, I'm 26 now. So last year at 25, I did 101. This year we have about 120 closed. Hell, I could even look for you here, but we'll probably do $1 million in gross commission income.
There you go. That's what people want.
So we've closed 116.
That's exactly where I was going with this.
Pending.
Thank you.
So we have 850 grand closed so far this year, but we still have 185 in escrow. So hopefully we hit that $1 million mark by the end of the year.
That's huge, dude. Congratulations.
That's the hope.
Wow. Congrats. We're going to have to follow back up with you on January 1st. To hold
My luck, it'll be $9.99 or something like that.
Right. But everybody's going to want an update, so we'll definitely have to post it.
For sure.
Yeah, it's also the fact that like we always have goals as well, and this annoyed the living piss out of me last month. I think we missed our goal by something like 15. Right now, so some people everyone's different with their goals. So some people go, irrespective, my goal in the next month is going to remain what it was going to be if we'd hit our goal this month. But for me, and I've tried doing that, but I don't want to. Sometimes it depends on your mindset. Like sometimes you want to aim so high and miss because then you still exceed what you kind of thought was realistic. On the flip side, sometimes you need to positively reinforce that you are hitting your goals. So like this month, I've been like, it's December, different stuff's going on. Let's aim for what we should have hit last month. We only missed by 15. I mean, we are talking by like the next day.
An annoying number.
Yeah.
Right? We are talking like if we had 12 more hours, we would have hit. Like, like it was that close. And it's like, fuck's sake.
And that's when you're just like, got a 10x it.
Yeah. And then, so the next month, it's like, listen, I want to go another 50% above where we're at, like where we should have been at. I want to go 50% more. And it's good to have goals, but I think it's insane for someone your age in like the most positive way. It's like, you're so young and you're just hustling and you figured some stuff out. And I want to really dive into your first topic where it's like, you're getting results right now that other people haven't dreamt of in the wildest dreams. Like even people listening, solo agent, imagine doing, was it 56 deals you said you did in your second year? It's like there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in commission that that they can have, they can do whatever they want with. And it's like, it is totally feasible. It's totally possible. And there's lots of people out there doing it. And a lot of it's to do with limiting beliefs and also strategies and tactics. Like where do they go? Which is obviously why we're doing what we do right now, which brings me to topic one, which we love. And it's gonna help people learn a little bit more about you, because those that are listening can't see, but Anthony's got a proper little rig set up. He's got his mic, like this is why his audio sounds so crisp. He's into his YouTube and his content, which is your first topic. So unpack that for us. What do you mean by YouTube and content strategy, and what does that mean to you?
Sure. So like I said, whenever I started out with that $100 in Zillow ad spend, but I've always kept a really good track on where my leads are coming from, how much revenue I'm making from each lead source. And it started to get, as I closed a couple of deals from Zillow for $100, I was like, well, now let's bump that up to 200, until it got to a couple grand, but it was bringing in maybe 30 plus grand a month in revenue off of, it was always like 10x return. But Zillow could be gone tomorrow. Sure, there's always going to be some sort of comparable lead source, but you just never know. And so I decided that I was going to start making an effort to become my own Zillow. How can I attract leads and clients without having something, any kind of dependency, because if even 30% of your business is coming from one specific lead source that you have no control of, well, just imagine if that lead source goes away.
It's gone. Yeah.
Dries up tomorrow. What happens?
So I started working really hard on our website, SEO, and a big part of that is YouTube. So I hired a full-time videographer last year, and we just started every week. It kind of started out with my with my listings, where we were just doing professional listing videos. And then I was putting that on YouTube. I was putting that on Facebook, Instagram, boosting it. We were able to get tens of thousands of views that way. And that was working out really good. But then listings kind of dried up for everybody. So I'm like, all right, well, now what are we going to do? So we started doing like tours of areas of the town, best neighborhoods, pros and cons of living here. Just every week, because we had Wednesday set aside every day, that day every week for content. And so he would come over to the office on Wednesday and we would just have to go film some form of content. So now we probably have, I don't know, has to be at least 50 some videos on there, and we get leads from it every week. I embed those YouTube videos on to my website. And so now we have pages ranking for specific neighborhoods that if you type in that neighborhood, we're the first result on Google. And so that's where I'm starting to see, maybe we can build in some freedom with this strategy, because I might, I have a full-time videographer. So yeah, I'm doing it at like the highest quality. I'm not just, doing a GoPro or whatever. And plenty of people have success with that, but I want to make this the highest level of content to where it's going to be hard as hell for anybody to come into my market and try to beat me out.
Duplicate it and rip it off.
Yes, because I've already done it at the highest level. It would really take an investment of time and money for someone to try to match it. Now I make that video, and that video may produce leads for me for every week for years to come. It's something you do once that continues to generate leads, and it's something that I own. So if you type in my town, I live in a 25,000 population town, Roseburg, Oregon, on YouTube, I'm at least half of the first 10 videos that show up on YouTube. Even on Google, I think that we're on the first page with some of our videos because, Google owns YouTube. So I found a lot of power in focusing on the content and YouTube specifically.
So did you, when you got into YouTube, for those listening, maybe, they're interested in expanding on the YouTube strategy. I mean, we love it. We're kind of looking into it a little bit, but not, we kind of focus on what we personally call a single source system. This is what we have, which is we've always focused on Facebook for literally years, and it produces amazing results, and we're happy to pay to play, right? But there's two of us. So now we've really dialed that into a fine art. Like we're talking about, but we've done this for years. This isn't, we've done it for a couple of months. We're talking like 3+ solid years on just one platform. Right. And it's still great. But now like this YouTube content stuff, we're curious, but because there's two of us, we have bandwidth to be curious, because like sure, I can go out and look into it type thing, or Peter can, and the other one's staying heavy on the Facebook, and it's still two independent individuals kind of doing it. But when you got into it, did you take the money you earned and dive full in videographer, everything right away? Or was there a bit of a ramp up? Was it an iPhone GoPro setup prior, or was it whole hog from day one?
I did a couple of blog articles where I recorded it with my GoPro, and I had a Canon T6i, which is a nicer DSLR camera, not the nicest in the world, but I had tried, but it took so many hours to actually not only go out and get the content, but to put the content together into something that was worth watching. So yes, I did a couple of them. I mean, I was relatively happy with how they turned out. But again, like we were talking about from the beginning, consistency. How consistent can you be whenever all of a sudden you have a listing appointment, or, a buyer needs to look at a house, or your team has some problem that you have to go fix? Well, obviously those things end up taking priority. And so it just made more sense to hire someone to do it. So yeah, I just kind of jumped right in with the videographer. He was making, I don't know, $12-14 an hour working at the airport, hated his job. He had a YouTube channel, so he sent me some videos of him like fishing and stuff. And I'm like, I think I like this guy. Let's see how this works. And, he just had a talent and a skill that he wasn't able to utilize. He was using it more as a hobby. And so he was more than happy to come over and start putting in hours. And
for anybody who's listening, what does that look like? Like, what kind of investment should they be expecting? It doesn't have to be exact, like brackets. Like if somebody's looking to start producing high quality content for YouTube or whatever source they're picking, what kind of investment should they be expecting? Like a minimum, obviously you can go really high end production and you can ramp it up and you can spend whatever you want. But like, for example, as a new agent, if I'm looking for a videographer, are we looking at, $1,000 a month? Do you have them on a project by project basis? What does that look like? How do you even have that conversation?
So I did the couple projects myself, and then I transitioned into using one of my real estate photographers into doing videos. And, I was happy with them, but they were kind of more corporate looking videos, didn't quite have the feel that I wanted. But the biggest thing was we batched and we did like 5 videos in one day. And I didn't get some of those videos back until months later. And so that's whenever I was like, screw this. We have enough photo and video stuff that we could just hire a full-time person to do this that's dedicated to it and, is going to make it happen for us. So whenever I had the real estate photographer doing it, it was like several $100s a video is what it came out to, and it was just per project. With my buddy Alec, that's our full-time videographer, I pay him hourly. I pay him $17.50 an hour, which, it's going to be different, I'm sure, market to market. But in our area, that's competitive. He's making more than he was at his other job, and, he's happy to do it. And he still picks up side jobs and stuff. I mean, this was a good transition for him to work into that being his business. But obviously, I'm going to be the majority of what keeps him busy. So he's dedicated to helping me make sure that we're getting that video out every week, rather than a more independent contractor I may not get my content back for several months, hard to be consistent with that.
Well, one of the questions I've got is around the content strategy. So the realtors who actually go out and do want to produce content, whether it's for themselves or to get someone in. I think this is interesting. Like, what content, give us a few video ideas or things that you've found success with that are actually generating you leads for your business, that are getting you actual deals in, because that's what matters, right? Like producing content, like, to be candid, it's like it's not that no one cares. It's like no one cares. We want deals. Like, we're doing this to get money in, to make money, to close GCI, to have that consistency. So like, what content, what videos are producing you qualified leads that you're able to convert?
Well, the ones that have done best. So remember, I'm in a 25,000 population town. So I have a couple of videos that are over a handful of thousand of views. My first one that did really well was the 5 best neighborhoods in Roseburg, Oregon. And then I think that pros and cons of living in Roseburg, Oregon is even over that now. Other than that, neighborhoods typically do really well. I think where people go wrong when they start trying to use this strategy is by like talking about the escrow process and talking about lending. I mean, I've done a handful of those videos. I had a series, the Roseburg Real Estate Rant, where I would do things that were more real estate related. Those videos always tank. Nobody gives a shit about them. But if you go out and you're a local guide, then people kind of can see your personality and begin to like you and feel like they know you before you even get together. And I mean, once Alec and I got in a groove where we were out in town every week, I mean, people started to recognize us and be like, oh, I see your videos on Facebook and stuff like that. I mean, like, everywhere we went. And it was like, you started to see the local celebrity effect, which, I had never really expected that. But in our industry, I don't know, Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone. I mean, there's Tom Ferry. I mean, there's probably someone who always pops up in your feed, wherever you go, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook. I wanted to be that, but for my local area. And I've found, I mean, you could probably do that for $10 a day on Facebook, where you're getting thousands of views, depending on, how big of an area you're targeting and what the population of your area is.
Yeah, that's a really, really nice idea, actually, because if you can just produce content that is, the people in your area want to see, you run some small ads to it. And like you said, local celebrity, like, this is a super powerful strategy. And like, these communities, especially close-knit ones, that's going to produce like ridiculous ROI for you, where it's like, people are seeing us about, because I live in 25,000 people. Obviously, if you live in other areas that are slightly bigger, but it's like the leverage that you get from social media with regards like money into like impressions and views is ridiculous. Like, it is crazy. Oh, yeah. And people should leverage that more. I mean, listen, you are living proof, at 26, doing north of 100 deals a year, using these strategies in a very small area in the grand scheme of things. It's like, also, I think what other people listening to this, some people might be like, yeah, but I live in a small area, and then you've just gone, yeah, mine's 25,000 people. So is yours really that much smaller than mine? Like, I live in a tiny ass area.
There's only a few places that may be that much smaller. So go to the town next door. Go to the neighboring town, right? Expand your horizon.
Yeah, it's funny. These people are just, like the agents listening, what's nice about it is it's like, this isn't like you're in Denver, Colorado. Millions and millions of people you're siphoning off, and it's like you are a local celebrity, which is awesome. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. Now, before you go, we're giving access to a private training we did where we revealed the top 3 niches to get listings today completely for free. So if you want access, you can go and download that training at eliteagentsecrets.com. We're regularly releasing new trainings, guides, and cheat sheets, so make sure to head over to eliteagentsecrets.com and sign up so you don't miss out.